Quite a year for Northwestern athletics, including 2 national championships, tied for the most of any Big Ten school, and the first time they've ever won 2 in the same academic year. Cats capturing field hockey and women's golf. They were 1 win away from a lacrosse national title as well. Had their first NBA draft pick this century in Brooks Barnheiser. All this in year 1 for athletic director Mark Jackson, chatting with Rick.
Mark, simple question, probably a little bit of a more difficult answer. How was year 1?
Exceeded every expectation, really, and my expectations were high coming into this. And Northwestern's a place everybody pays attention to on multiple fronts, and that's certainly my case. And 8 months in, 9 months in, everything you can imagine. Number 6 institution in the world, playing in the preeminent best athletic conference in the country, city of Chicago. We're building an $850 million stadium, all those things, right? But the main thing is the people, and how welcoming and warm the whole community has been to me and my family. And we're building out our leadership team. We have an unbelievable corral of head coaches, top to bottom, and really excited on every front.
Let's start with that stadium. What kind of updates can you give us on the construction and progress of a stadium that, in looking at the mock-ups, is going to be one of the greatest in all of college football?
Yeah, we believe that, and we're committed to that. We have a chance to create something unlike anywhere in the world, we believe, and to create a premium experience, a college game day reimagined top to bottom. Every seat in the building is going to be a premium seat tied to a great club and a great experience. We want people to spend the day with us. And if you're a trustee, the most important thing you'd want to hear is that it's on time and it's on budget. And working closely with the Ryan family day in and day out to make sure that we deliver on a world-class experience, not only just for the football season, but really 365 days. We have a lot of programming scheduled, and we think we can connect to the Big Ten community. We want to be a great host. We want to connect to the Chicago community, the Evanston community, and what a great place to do it in the North Shore of Chicago. To pack it in purple is going to be really, really important to us. We think the amount of market study data that we've attributed to the project is going to lend itself to that. Although smaller at 35,000, it's going to be packed and create that world-class experience. We want to create a whole home field advantage. There's a lot into the design in terms of the structural steel that we invested in to make the stadium not big and bowl-like, but really intimate, more like a basketball arena, but just on a much larger scale.
David Braun had one of the most unlikely and successful seasons, not just in the history of Northwestern football, but Big Ten football. The story that was written 2 years ago when that team, which nothing was expected of, did what it did, is unreal. Obviously not able to back it up in the way that I know David and the program wanted a year ago. How do you assess what happened on the football field in 2024?
Yeah, first of all, it starts with David as a person. I think David was one of the earliest people that I connected to when I started this process with Northwestern, and he's the right leader for us, aligned with our philosophy, understands the type of young man that succeeds at Northwestern. He understands that better than a lot of people that have been around it, and he's taught me a lot about that. So first and foremost, we have the right type of student athlete, and I think you'll see tremendous strides this year based on what we've invested into the roster, the type of young men that in critical spots for us. So I see marked improvement. We have a tough schedule. Playing in this conference isn't easy for anybody. So we don't take anything lightly, and we can kind of control what we can control today, which is getting the team ready, and came off a really successful spring. For me to be immersed in the off season with David has been fantastic. To be involved in the investment into the roster. We just hired a general manager in Christian Sarkisian from the Cincinnati Bengals, who we're really, really excited about, to help with the talent acquisition. Talent retention, as we know, is always important. So my expectations are high, and David and I will be attached to the hip as we attack it.
I know one of the main priorities not long ago was making sure that Chris Collins remained in Evanston. He was a wanted man for great reason. He's done an unbelievable job taking this program to places it had never been before. How much of a priority was that for you? How did you make it happen?
Yeah, similar to David and a lot of our head coaches, they're the foundation of our entire athletic department. And Chris, when we talk about attendance at Welsh Ryan, the atmosphere at Welsh Ryan, what it's done for our community, Chris is not solely responsible for, but plays a huge role in that. Not just what happens on the floor, but all that happens around it. He's creating a legacy. And he's a Chicago guy, an unbelievable story, right, in terms of what his career was. And he's building a legacy here that we hope to see him here for the long term. and we wanted to invest in that the right way. It wasn't a hard decision, you know, to work on a contract and extension. I'm so excited for the future. I think, you know, again, Big Ten's not easy, competing on the national stage, but I think we have a consistent NCAA qualifying type of program that we're going to continue to invest in a great way.
You know, Mark, it's interesting because so many eyes obviously are on football and basketball. It gets more of the TV attention. But you look at Northwestern's Olympic sports, whether it's the field hockey team, which is competing for or winning national championships each and every year. You say the same thing about Kelly Amonte Hiller and the women's lacrosse program. The softball program is good each and every year. When you look at the Olympic sports and how they play into the entire athletic department and what they mean to the athletic department, how do you kind of encapsulate that?
Yeah, it's a huge piece of our brand, and it's not that we segment, you know, Olympic sports and football and basketball are revenue generating, non-revenue generating. To me, I want, you know, all 21 sports, all 500 plus student athletes to compete for national championships, period. Some are equipped to do that, you know, and some will be part of revenue share and will advance towards that goal, you know, maybe faster than others. But we can't take steps backwards in today's landscape. I'm fully committed to making sure that all 21 programs have the right kind of resources. It's not just on the head coaches. It's not just on the student athletes, right? It's collectively, it's alignment with our president, with our board, with our entire department to be committed to that mission and goal. And we have that there. And then not only do we have that, but we also have this unbelievable academic profile. And we have, I think, the best collegiate athletic facilities in the country. So you combine all that, and we have the right ingredients, I think, to allow our programs to compete that way. And they've taught me so much. When I think about Kelly and Kate and Tracy and Emily's in the national championship with women's golf, and all of our head coaches, they've taught me so much about the culture and how to navigate it. And I look at those relationships as partnerships towards winning a national championship.
And one of those coaches will be saying goodbye after this coming season, after a legendary run, not just at Northwestern, but the effect that Joe McEwen has had on women's college basketball is almost indescribable. As Joe kind of informed you and you learned that this was going to be his last year, what were your thoughts and thoughts on the legacy that he'll leave behind for the sport as a whole?
Yeah, celebrating Joe the right way, but not making this like some ancillary year that we're just going to throw. You know, we want to compete, and Joe wants to compete, wants to go out the right way. So we will celebrate him at every turn for all that he's done, not only just at Northwestern, but across the whole women's basketball landscape. I spent 10 years in Philly. Joe's a Philly guy. He'll let you know that. You know, he'll let you know what a great athlete he was. Yeah, you know, you've dealt with Joe enough. But you know, from the very first meeting, Joe was just the kind of guy you want to build a friendship with. And so we've had a lot of conversations, both about basketball, but also about family and life and what's next. So Joe will be a part of our history forever, and we'll celebrate him forever.
Mark, I know you're just getting started, and you can always envision what a job is. But as you look ahead to the future of being the athletic director at Northwestern, what are you most excited about?
Man, there's so much. To do it in a particularly Northwestern way, we don't want to compare ourselves against anybody for all the reasons mentioned, right? We have a chance, I think, to create the type of experience where we graduate complete student athletes that have a love and connection to Northwestern for the rest of their lives. We're not a transient place. You know, typically, if you look at our retention rates, whether it's our head coaches or particularly our student athletes right now, it's a place people understand the value of the degree and not only the academic profile, but all that the community provides, and combine that with competing in the Big Ten. We just have a unique opportunity where people want to stay and they want to be a part of it. Is it a fit for everybody? Probably not, but for us, to have all those elements, the academics, the athletic excellence, the community support, all that, gives us a chance, I think, to compete on the national stage and not bemoan all that's coming. You hear about all this seismic changes in the industry and how are we going to handle this and how are we going to handle that. And there are challenges, but I'm excited about them. I'm excited to embrace them. I think Northwestern's the right type of place. We have a lot of really smart people around us that are committed and invested. So I'm excited for the future.